What I'm going to talk about today is using concepts behind great melodies for sources of your own motifs and for your own improvising. And some of these things include use of space, repetition, repeated notes, rhythmic displacement, guide tone lines, all sorts of line cliches, balancing lines between scales and arpeggios, studying different types of sequences, approach note patterns, and obviously I'm going to be using a backing track, which I normally don't do, but I feel like since we're talking about single note improvisation and how to apply some of these concepts, I think you're going to find that helpful to hear that. This tune confirmation that I have queued up here. Why don't we try that? I'll try to do thirds on this. Go through the whole tune trying that. You ready? I'll give it a shot. Oh, okay. So you can see that can be a pretty effective thing, having those, using the thirds. You know, it's a typical sort of guide tone line situation where the guide tone line is using standard sort of guitar voicings, right? Okay. Waltz for Debbie does the same sort of thing. In fact, a lot of people mistake How My Heart Sings for Waltz for Debbie. We play it sometimes. Folks say, "Oh, I enjoyed Waltz for Debbie." It's very similar, but you'll notice Waltz for Debbie starts on a fifth. Example 2 is okay. So it's the fifth of the F chord, the third of the D minor, the third of the G minor 7, the third of the C7. It's used in a lot of tunes. The most famous would be example 3 here is All the Things You Are. Third, third. These are all thirds. Famous example. Okay. In example 4, now we're sort of moving into some slightly different territory here. Well, I shouldn't say that. All the Things You Are has a descending line. In fact, there's 2 lines. The first line would be going 2, 3, 4. So it's this diatonic line, which is going down in stepwise. Now, intertwined with that, you have D flat going to a C, going to a B. If you look at the example, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. So there's 2 distinct lines. Now, how we can get this thing to work is basically by using an interval, and in this case, they're all perfect fourths, or not all perfect fourths. Some of it, you have an augmented fourth here, but so it's perfect fourth, and then from the G to the C is another perfect fourth. So if you do things like practice playing in intervals, taking diatonic intervals around, moving diatonic intervals around, it's an incredible practice for your improvising. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All Things is based off of perfect fourth, and then you go down a half step, do another perfect fourth, go down a whole step, do an augmented fourth, and then it resolves. Now, picking it up from the E flat, we've got a perfect fourth, go down a half step and another perfect fourth. So what does that mean for your improvising? Well, you can practice diatonic sequences in intervals. Okay, so if we were going to do this on the tune Confirmation, I might try doing something like maybe I'll take let's do the fourth interval. That's what that would be. So it's basically two guide tone lines. You have the guide tone line that's based off of the third. Okay, now that's all thirds up top, and then you have this other line, which we did, which is the seventh going to the sixth. Confirmation is an F major chord. E going to D, D going to the C sharp. You get this chromatic, semi-chromatic line. Now if you put it together, you get okay, play that again. Perfect fourth interval, perfect fourth. You have to move that because the chord changes to A7. D minor 7 to G7. C minor 7 to F7. Okay, now you can play it harmonically like that or melodically. You can go. Oftentimes I'll do things like that. Kind of play an interesting rhythm on it, you know. Sort of a displaced rhythm is kind of a nice idea. Okay. It's the descending minor line cliche, figure 3. And again, you end up with a Johnny Smith chord, a piano chord, a closed voicing. And here's a real short one, figure 4. Really short one. But I like it because it